All right.
Let's go.
Hello and welcome to Red Flags, the podcast that's been summoned by the disembodied voice in your basement. We are your hosts, Dave, Al, Donnie, and Opie, and today we're talking about 1979's Amityville Horror. Take it away, Al.
Actually, I think that somebody else should start because I'm going to do a lot of talking.
Oh.
But right off the bat, ratings.
Fake
News.
and gay. Oh.
Well, you want to start, Dave?
I just thought that was funny.
Yeah, Dave's about to rate it a 2.
I'm having a hard time because I don't want to rate it high, but I do at the same time.
I'm really curious about that.
I was kind of bored with it.
Me too.
But we've been watching a lot of slow fucking movies lately.
Date today.
And I don't want to bitch too much about it.
13.
Although it was a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I
it was.
fucking hate.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Me and Dave watched it. We skipped a lot of it.
We had to. It took me 45 minutes to find out where I could watch it because the TV first decided it needed to be real slow. You can just X out of that in the upper corner.
I watched half of it on Monday and the other half this morning.
How did you watch it, Donnie?
Tubi.
All right. What about
Apparently
you?
it was free
I
on,
downloaded 2 fucking apps so that I could watch this cocksucker, and
Amazon.
well,
He didn't want
I
to
went with
spend money.
Freevee and Tubi. I think I thought it was going to be on Freevee, but it was on Tubi.
Huh?
So
Yep.
son of a bitch.
Yep, I went through pretty much all the basic stuff. Like, even checked, like, Shudder. I didn't see anything on any of that shit. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
I did.
And then I got lucky with Amazon.
I did so much research.
Did you?
Oh, yeah. I went down a whole rabbit hole of just the Warrens.
Did you go down the stupid move of just watching nothing about the movie and everything about the murder?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I did too. Yeah.
Well, you get into that mode, and then you're like, I need to know this and this and this and this.
Yeah, and then you forget about the actual movie.
Yeah, and so then I got here today after work, and Dave was like, where do I even watch this at? And I was like, I don't know. I haven't watched it. But Dave did the same thing where he did like all the research too.
Well, I knew actually a lot about it coming up. I mean, I don't know too much about Ed and Lorraine.
Well, I was talking about for your movie.
Oh, yeah. I dug so deep trying to find even a shred of anything that could, at least say, hey, But I guess for me, the biggest evidence that it's possible is that there is zero evidence.
Yeah,
Because she kept completely to herself. There's nothing passed down in the family. So that to me makes it more possible.
Yeah.
okay.
That's what I said kind of at the end of mine too, because you said, how do you feel? I'm like, I think it's possible. I mean, not quite to the extent that like the movie did, but I really do feel that it's totally possible that was her motivation for it. I mean, because they never explained it.
Yeah, and this was the Winchester Mansion. Yep.
Fake.
Fake and gay.
Well, the mansion's not fake.
No.
And
No, it's fake. It's made up.
the cool part was that she really did build that crazy house.
I mean, you gotta. So what do you rate this one, Dave?
Yeah.
Amityville Horror, 1979.
I'm gonna sound like kind of a dick, but I like the Ryan Reynolds one better.
That doesn't make you a dick.
No.
No, it's just a lot of people would be like, "Oh, the originals are so much better."
There are a lot of remakes that
But
are
I'm
better.
a big Reynolds fan.
That's fair.
I really like half the shit that he's in.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah,
I'm struggling with it too.
I'm just gonna go with it as the movie, as if I didn't know anything about it. Just because I know quite a bit about the Amityville stuff. I did get some stuff that I blended from a whole different thing and thought it was associated with that. It was I can't remember actually where it came from, but there was like repairs and stuff being done to the house.
Yeah.
And the contractors that were working on it had the blueprints, had all the measurements, but when they put up, say, like the repair walls, all the measurements were completely off. And they double checked every time, but like the next day when they come back to do more work, everything was wrong. So they kept having to tear shit down. And
That's weird. I don't know what the hell he's doing over there.
Oh, you guys can keep
Donnie,
talking about the movie. I was just letting you know that my computer decided to restart.
Oh,
Something's
do we still
wrong
got
with that.
Donnie?
No, we don't right now.
Oh.
So that's why I was like, hopefully we were just going to fucking skate right through it. But I was just trying to let Dave know that the computer restarted. But no, then you guys had to bring it up.
Nope. Ignorance is bliss. You should have just left us out of the loop there.
Yeah, but I know you can see it.
that's okay.
Well, I'll
Technical
give it my
difficulties.
rating, which I'm going to give it a 7.
What did he give it?
I got to think about it a little more.
Yeah.
Okay.
We won't put him on the spot. I'll give it a 7.
I'll come back to it in a minute.
Because we've watched a lot of slow burn ghost movies lately, and I can't put my finger on why I didn't like it as much. It might have had to do with the 2-hour length. That was a lot.
It's weird because it's only an extra half hour from what we're used to.
I know, but on a slow burn horror movie, ghost haunted house type movie, it's too long for me. It was too much.
I see what you're saying with the slowness of what we've been watching a lot of slower movies lately.
Yeah, Caveat was real slow, but we really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I think All You Need Is Death was slow, maybe.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty
But we didn't like that one. But yeah, I don't know. This one was slow, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it.
So what did Dave rate it?
We skipped him. We'll circle back around.
Yeah, he needs more time.
Ooh.
What do you think, Donnie?
And you said 7?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I'm kind of. I think I'm gonna eke around on a 7 as well. I mean, it is slower and all that. It's really long, but I think they did a really good job of displaying that like descent into madness a little bit. You know, I like that
For sure.
Okay, it kept me into it. It was long and slow, but I wasn't so bored out of my mind or anything.
Yeah.
Plus, what's his face threw that axe into that tree like a fucking beast.
Were you impressed by that?
Yeah. I'm like, I wish I could do that.
It was
They wouldn't have done a visual cut at that moment, I would have been a lot more impressed.
so
Yeah.
I was
Don't
like,
ruin my dreams, Dave.
well, he did that, and the guy that he was with was like, okay. And I was like, you can't even
they
give him
took
like a
that-
nice throw, you know?
Yeah, I would have. I'd have been like,
They
"Whoa,
took that
that's pretty
moment
sweet."
to like look at each other, and they like he was just like, "Did that just happen?" He's like, "Yeah, that's right, bitch." And like I laughed out loud after that scene because it was just so like fucking I don't know unfitting.
The look they gave each other was.
Yeah, that shit was gold.
Oh man, it wasn't normal, you know, because you would be like, damn. And you'd be stoked. You'd be like, I just tucked that thing into a tree. That's awesome.
Like, did you know?
No.
I'd be like, you didn't see that shit? Come on, man. Like, at least give me a high five. Fuck you.
Right?
It was like call and response. Like the guy was just admiring it for a second, and he was just like, "Yeah, that's right. I did that."
He just tried to like impress him or like
Yeah,
be
like
badass.
he wasn't like he didn't look like he was worried or scared, and I thought that was fucking funny. So yeah, I'll land on a 7. It seems like a 7.
7. All right. Well, I'm gonna be a bummer because I'm giving it a 5.
Ooh.
My problem is I did all the research first. I should have watched the movie first and then did the research.
I think
Ah.
it might have affected you kind of the same because you would have seen the movie and then done the research and went, oh.
See, I think that I might have been with you guys where I'm like, oh, it was a slow burn and it was boring. But this time, like the way that I did it, now I'm sitting there like, wrong. This is stupid. That's different. This is fucked up, you know?
Oh
But
yeah,
like I said,
true.
you got to kind of think about it as the movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? 'Cause
I
we're
know.
just rating the movie.
And I'm trying to think of it as like, besides the story of it, which a lot of it doesn't make sense. And,
Yeah, there
and
was
you heard me
quite a
being
few.
like, why the fuck would that even be a thing? Like, regardless of the real story or not, like, why the fuck is this a part of this? Or, you know, and I was like,
What is it?
there was different.
Why'd they spend 20 minutes of the priest going and visiting the other priest and talking to him about mail, and then there was no dialogue, and then he walked and talked to the cop that came up and
Yeah,
was
what,
like,
what the fuck did that have
I
to do
think
with
I'm
it?
chasing shadows.
And they never even
About
followed up
what?
on any of that.
Yep, and then it just ended, and it
And
was
the cop, you
completely
never
pointless.
find out if the cop goes and finds out whatever he's fucking looking for.
And what was he looking for? You don't know.
Is he trying to blame the priest for the murders? Like what?
No, the priest was his friend.
Allegedly, I can say that about anybody.
Well, no, but he was worried about what happened to him because, you know,
Yeah. Which he just went blind for some fucking reason.
he prayed too hard.
I guess.
Is that
Yeah, that'll happen.
That's what happened.
he was praying a little too often.
too hard.
Too hard.
All right, so yeah.
He was scream praying, and then
Too
all of a sudden he's
often
like,
and
I'm
too hard.
blind!
He was
So-
praying with no lube.
Yeah.
What if he
was.
just like shit his pants or something? Like, Father, what's wrong? He's like, oh, I shit my pants.
I said, yeah, you should watch that video I sent you on Instagram.
I'm waiting till after the pod. You were like, don't watch it now. You're gonna
Oh,
hate
my.
it.
Yeah. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's interesting.
Dirty.
It's dirty. It's not like sexually dirty, unless you're into that thing.
Oh Lord.
Anyway,
Anyway, so yeah, I gave it a 5 because it's like, it wasn't the worst movie, but it wasn't good.
That's
yeah,
kinda
like
where
you
I'm
said, with
kinda
all those
laying.
first notions of the research.
Like as the movie itself, like there was that part when the priest is screaming, and then they spent too long of the phone just ringing and him staring at it,
Yeah.
and I just had some PTSD of fucking old phones or something because I was like, answer the goddamn phone.
Yeah, this was one of those where they had scenes that went too long.
Yeah.
And you could just cut 10 seconds off a few of these scenes.
A few.
Yeah.
If you cut like 10 seconds off of 60 of the scenes,
Yeah.
I mean,
You'd be down to your 90-minute
Yep.
video or your
Yep.
90-minute movie.
So did we circle back to Dave then?
oh man.
Because remember, we'll do another review at the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
I gotta start at about a 5.5.
That's fair.
Little bit halfway between 5 and 6, because I mean it held my attention enough, but it was just pretty fucking average. Like
It
it
was.
wasn't enough, until like the very end.
Let's see if I can get Dave to go up to a 6, just up a half a point for the effects of the blood coming out of the wall, because you pointed that out.
Yeah, and the stairs. I like the way they did that. They had it hidden enough that you didn't notice it until it started coming out. That was all right, but that was like the only part that was.
That was enough for you to say it out loud. That's pretty good for 1979.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Because you didn't really see. I mean, I guess I didn't notice, but I didn't really see like the slits in the wallpaper where it would actually have initially come out.
One of the things that brought it down for me was, I'm like, okay, now we're watching The Shining.
Oh yeah, when you whack the door with the axe.
He's running high with a axe, and he's like, whatever her name is, starts screaming her name, and then like starts bashing in a door with an axe. I'm like, that is the fucking Shining. Why? The Shining was out by then. The Exorcist was out.
And there
No,
was another
Shining
thing
is
that,
1980. This was 1979.
Axes were really popular at the
Oh.
time.
So maybe well,
And
Maybe Stephen King was inspired by this movie.
he's splitting wood
oh yeah,
with that axe.
Dave is basically
Now,
stopped the
don't get
movie.
me wrong. You can do it, but they make a splitting maul for a reason, and they've had those for many years.
Dave's like, tell me what's wrong with that scene right
See,
there.
those kind of axes are meant to cleave, not to split because they're thin, and the
Okay.
blades are thin. So they're meant to, like, if you're chopping down a tree, that's more what that's made for
Okay.
cleaving. Where if you're splitting, it looks almost like, like
Like
you
a
take like
wedge.
a big 10-pound maul and then squash the end. So it's got a nice wide and it's heavy. So it
Has
actually
weight.
spreads the wood out a lot more. It's designed
Wow.
for that. I mean,
That's fake.
That was phony shit. I didn't realize that.
I noticed
Good eye,
that
Dave.
immediately when he was starting
Were-
to
were
swing.
you-
I'm just like, why is...
Were you glad that I caught that?
Yeah, because I asked him, I said, what's wrong with this picture right here? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, the axe.
Well, you didn't say that because you didn't say the axe because I was like,
Well, I did
I was
say...
like, there's a lot, but it looks like a fireman's axe and not a maul. I think I just
Yeah.
said a maul, and you're like, yep, a splitting maul. That is not what that's used for.
Yeah. I mean, you don't get me wrong, you can split wood with it. But when you're actually, if that's what you're doing is splitting wood, you wouldn't want to use that because it's going to take a lot more swings.
Maybe he just owns one axe.
And you don't want them blisteringly sharp.
Yeah.
You want them somewhat blunted. They split better.
Really?
Blunted.
I mean, you want them
hey,
to be like sharpened somewhat, but you wouldn't sharpen them to a razor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dave's like, oh, how long is he gonna fucking sharpen this fucking axe for?
Until his friend gives him his light or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I did like that scene because he's like, "How you doing, bud? You're doing this and that, and you're having a hard like, what's going on?" And he just ignored him. And the second he goes, "Well, I brought your light for your deck," he like,
Just for his
he
boat.
brightens up and smiles.
It was
and,
his
"Oh."
spotlight for his boat.
Yeah, whatever it was, and I was like,
You want me
"Oh,
to
He's
put
like,
it
did
on
you say
for you?"
bolt?
yeah." He's just like labor. He's just a blue collar guy. The real horror in this movie is that guy had to go to and be in a wedding while he was sick. That is the real horror of this movie.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and his check bounced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the real.
Cater got mad.
All right. So you guys want me to tell you about what really fucking happened?
Yes, let's hear it.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to start with Mr. Ronald DeFeo, right? So that's what kicks this all off. You got Ronnie DeFeo. He murders his entire family.
How many people?
Let's see. There was his dad, Ronald DeFeo Sr., his mom, Louise, his 4 siblings, Don, Allison, Mark, and John. So
How old was he when he did this?
how old was
Ronnie.
23?
23. Okay.
His dad was 43. His mom was 43. The oldest of the siblings besides him, because he was the oldest. So then it went him, then Don 18, Allison was 13, Mark was 12, and John was 9. And he shot all of them with a 35 caliber lever action Marlin 336C rifle.
Oh my! Have you ever had one of those?
Which
You ever owned one?
really shocks me to how that wouldn't have woken people up.
Yeah, that is a big.
Because what I was talking about before is I was saying in order to get a gun even remotely quiet enough is you would have to shoot like maybe like a small like normal like 22 long rifle.
Mhm.
That bullet subsonic, which means it doesn't hit the speed of sound, and with a extremely long suppressor
and
shooting it through a pillow.
Yeah.
That could be quiet enough, but you'd still hear the action of the gun.
Yeah.
So here's what's weird.
But there's no threads on that gun to be able to.
On that
Yeah.
note, all the kids were killed with a single shot. The parents each had 2 shots. Nobody woke up. Nobody heard the sounds. No neighbors heard these gunshots going off. In the movie, they
The dad was laying face up.
well, yeah,
and you
I
pointed
pointed that out. Everybody was found face down. But in the movie, they also showed him using a shotgun. I think, yeah. So, I mean, that was like whatever. I don't care. So, they were living at 112 Ocean Avenue,
What state was this?
New York.
Amityville,
New York, which means Friendlyville. That's what Amityville means.
means? Wow.
Amityville means Friendlyville.
Amicableville.
Yeah. I have had a line from Eminem stuck in my head ever since I started thinking about doing this movie and all this research. And it's like just on repeat in my brain. And it's like that. That's why we don't call it Detroit. We call it Amityville. You can get capped after just having a cavity fill. Just playing in my head over and over and over and over.
Why didn't you have that on your buttons?
I thought about it, but I was like,
You should have done that.
I'd annoy
We
the
need
fuck
those
out of you
buttons
guys.
used more.
If I fucking push that
Justify
button,
me picking up one of those fancy ones.
Correct.
So
Because if we
anyway,
don't use it enough, there's no point in picking up the fancy one.
that family bought that house in 1965, and all these murders happened on November 13th, which today is also the 13th, but it's not November, of 1974.
What? Never mind. Keep going.
Yes, 1974, November 13th. Today is
The 13th.
the 13th.
Oh, okay. Today.
But it's not
Today is the
November.
13th.
Okay.
Thank God.
This episode won't come out for a while, but when we're recording this, it's the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah, so single shots, nobody fucking heard anything. He gets picked up right away. Like, he had went to like the local bar and was like, oh, somebody broke into my house and killed my family.
Oh
And
my
they,
gosh.
and they were like, what? And so everyone went to his house and he's like, look, they're all dead.
Can we need to record that?
We are recording.
No, that voice. Just that segment.
Is this the abridged Muppet
Somebody
version?
broke into my house and killed my family. I want that on a button.
All right, we'll figure that. We'll get that figured out.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So he went in and then anyway, it turns out he fucking did it, right? He killed them all. He claims that he had seen an entity that handed him the gun and said, kill your family. And he was like, all right.
Why didn't you just hand it back and go, no?
I don't know, because it's the demon told him
No,
to
thank
do
you.
it.
So, I mean, if Opie came up to me and had a gun in his hands, like, kill your family, I'd be like, I'm going to shoot your ass.
Yeah, but he's not a demon, and that
No, but I'm
bullets
just
won't
saying.
kill a demon.
If he came in and
What if I come up to you and I say it like this? Kill your family. Then would you do it? No? Okay.
All right. Well, then you're a better man than Ronnie DeFeo Jr.
I guess.
And Ronald. Ryan Reynolds.
And Richard Ramirez. I don't know. We're just saying our names at this point. So,
Ronald Reagan.
and Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan got shot, I think.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yes.
Ronald
So,
McDonald.
a year later. Shut up! A year later, the family, the Lutz family, they're trying to buy a house, and they're like,
The Klutz family.
yes, the Lutz family. They're trying to buy a house. They have like $30,000 as their budget, and they're like talking to the realtor, and they went through like 60 fucking houses, and none of them jumped out at them. And the realtor's like, "Well, I got this house. It's like 80 grand. We'll take a tour of it. Let me know what you think." They're going through it, and they're loving it because this house is fucking the tits. It's
It's a big fucking
It's
house.
worth a lot of money.
huge house.
Yeah.
It's got a fucking pool, an indoor pool, or in-ground pool. It's got water
I
front
think that's
property.
a barn style house.
It's
the
yeah.
barn style.
Yeah,
so
and then
it's good for a lot of room. It's very
it's fucking huge. It's beautiful, and it's like out of their price range, but you know what? It's a hell of a fucking deal for what it is. That should have been like red flag number one. Like, whoa, who died here? But
that leads me to a question. Would you guys move into a house where there was a murder a year ago?
It depends.
You're going off of the movie when you say that.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, 'cause she actually brought it up in the movie and was like, doesn't it bother you that so many people died here? He's like, well, yeah, but when they were discussing
he said
it in
houses don't hold memories, is
Yes.
what he said, yeah.
Now, in the real world,
why were they wrong?
they might have actually known, but they played it off like they didn't, probably to try to get the deal. And so they decided on it. The realtor did bring it up. The realtor was like, hey.
They have to legally.
So
Well, it depends on the state.
the realtor was like, I probably should have told you this before we showed you the house, but, you know, and then said, this is the house where the DeFeos were murdered. And so then they had that choice to make, you know, if they're going to do it or not. And they decided to do it. They're like, fuck it. Sweet ass house. You got the dad, George. I think his name's George.
Yep.
Lutz.
George.
And the mom and her kids. And he's the stepdad. So that is important for the fact that, like, as they move in and instantly crazy shit starts happening, right? I can't go exactly. I've went through so much stuff, and some of it's this and some of it's that, but they were out of there 28 days later. They had the fuck enough. A lot of the stuff that happened in the movie is accurate as far as like
what they claim.
What, like the bleeding walls, the bleeding stairs, the secret room in the basement, and the dog being like afraid of it.
So did they ever actually like when they went, not to jump ahead, but like the secret room in the basement thing, was that something that did exist in the house?
There was a secret room in the basement that was painted red.
Okay.
It was claimed later. I'm trying not to jump too far ahead.
Oh, I was just curious if it existed, like in real life.
There was a secret room that was found in the basement with a red.
Walls.
All the walls were painted red and everything was painted red. Why? Don't fucking know.
Okay.
But yeah, so things like slowly started happening. Like, actually, like one of the common things that happened every single day for 28 days. George would wake up at 3:15 a.m. every single night. And that was the exact time that Ronnie DeFeo killed his whole family.
Oh my.
Also, interestingly, that is the exact same time that Ed Warren's mom died.
Ooh.
Of that murder. The same time that Ronnie DeFeo killed his parents, Ed Warren's mom died. Same time.
Same time?
Same time.
Day?
Same day.
Everything.
Same moment. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
That's
Okay.
strange.
I'm going to say allegedly on that because I haven't seen a death certificate for that.
Yeah, so that's the hard proof part.
But
that
I
makes
haven't
it hard.
seen it. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it doesn't exist, you know.
No, but yeah. I'm glad you said that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it started rampant. Like, he would wake up with nightmares, night terrors. His wife was having the same problems. She had night terrors. She was dreaming about the murders as they were happening. And so, like, in the movie, she like wakes up and screams like, he shot her in the head or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
There was slowly building aggression. And that's where it was like The Shining in a way, where like you watch, like you were saying, the buildup of madness happening. And that's like a common demonic trait, is that like it builds animosity between the family members, but it also needs to keep them there because they'll get their power from that family. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, so they need to keep the family there, so they're not trying to like kill them right away, but they're just trying to cause chaos because they thrive on it. Which is confusing because you would think it would be ghostly haunted by the dead aggressive murders
ghosts.
that happened,
Yeah.
and the confusion of like, because they had no fucking idea what happened to them. They're just no longer on this physical plane, right?
So
Yeah.
I kind of have a slight theory of what possibly, like, why they wouldn't have woken up.
Okay.
Some form of drugging.
There's also a theory that the eldest daughter helped.
I heard about that too.
Really?
But that's just a theory. I haven't heard
Yep.
too much about it.
I've heard a theory about that as well. That she was involved in it.
Yeah, and then he just took her out too.
Oh, wow.
And they never said anything about like the bodies being placed. But you would imagine it like, it's like you would have to have somebody else there to help, to be like, stay here, lay down, play dead or something. Maybe he'll go away, and then pop, whatever. I don't know how it plays out, but
And then pop.
yeah. Brap, brap.
Because that was part of the theory that she went in and said, hey, he's going, stay face down. And
Oh.
Yep.
I forgot to mention right off the bat, these motherfuckers, atheists, right? They do not go to church. They do not believe in the Heavenly Father,
They're sinners,
Jesus,
is what we're saying.
Mary, right?
Believe in
But the
nothing.
Right to
first
that.
thing that they did was have a priest come over and bless the house.
I got it that the wife was religious
In the movie or in real life?
in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, in real life. No.
The Lutzes?
I'm talking about the
Oh,
real life
okay.
events.
Yeah.
In the movie, yeah, they made it seem like they were religious, because like he grabbed the crucifix in the movie and was like, what do you want me to do with this? And she's like, oh, put it on the wall over there.
And when that happened, I was like, oh, they're not even religious. I'm like, see, they're setting this up for it to flip upside down later. And I totally called that.
He
Yeah.
did.
Which is
thought that was
stupid. You have
great.
to hang it by the bottom. Nobody does that. You just hang the shit from the top.
Yeah, it can't
But then
flip
they
upside
can't
down.
flip upside down.
Yeah, Opie, you're doing it wrong.
Oh, jeez.
Do you think that the real life George Lutz, like in the movie, also slept in a long sleeve T-shirt and whitey tighties? I thought that
The
was weird.
real
I thought
life-
that was the weirdest event of the whole film.
The real life George Lutz did not look like that guy.
Really?
Yeah.
But did he go to sleep wearing a long sleeve thermal shirt
He went to
and
sleep
whitey tighties?
wearing what is the Scrooge McDuck outfit?
He, basically a loincloth away from being Winnie the Pooh.
Yes.
You're telling me nobody's concerned?
I don't know why you were so focused on it. I mean, there's a whole rest of the movie to worry about.
Because the movie was boring and I had to find ways to like
Correct.
this fucking guy.
Yeah.
He was I know that the actor is a great actor in the movie, and I like, but he was so fucking creepy.
You think
He was. He did a.
because of the makeup and stuff?
I don't know, but it was before the crazy shit happened. It
Because
was
of the
like when
Brady's
he went to
dog.
bang his wife when she was stretching in front of the mirror.
Oh, well, come on, man.
He's
She
just
got
staring
a
at her.
little
He's
ass.
like,
She's got that
you
little
look
ass.
good.
You wouldn't have stared at her?
Yeah,
You
you
look
look good. Watching.
good. Yeah, but you can stare at her
Yeah.
like a normal person and not like you're gonna fucking murder her. But
Hey,
anyway,
you took it a step further. You were staring at him, staring at her. Now you're the weird one.
the camera
Yes.
stared at him, and then I'm like, ugh. Anyway, so they're not religious. First thing they do is they get a priest to come in and bless the place. The priest comes in, he's blessing, he's doing the thing where he's sprinkling the water in each room. So like the idea is you sprinkle the water in the room, you say your holy prayer. I don't remember exactly what it is, but and you open a window and you say the prayer, and then you say anything that's in here, get out, right? And they go out through the window, and you close the window, and you move on to the next room. So he goes to what was the master bedroom, but they had turned it into her sewing room, because as he went in there and he was doing the blessing thing, thousands and thousands of flies come out of nowhere, and flood the room, flood the windows. And all of a sudden he hears just a "get out," and he's like, "Oh fuck, I'm gonna do that." He's like, "This ain't right." So he gets out of there and he says, "Hey, whatever you do, like that room's not good, but it'll be fine. Just don't let anybody sleep in there. Don't make it a bedroom. Just do something else with it." And they're like, "Cool." And so that's what they do. They turn it into the sewing room. And then he gets the fuck out of Dodge. In the movie, he never even got the chance to say that. Like in the movie, they weren't even like in the house. And he like,
which was weird because they're like, we waited all day for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was in there by himself.
Yeah. Which is like, because they went off on the boat in the movie.
But then they didn't wait all day.
Yeah. I think that she like forgot that part. Like the 5 minutes that he was, doing that, they hopped on the boat for a second and she probably thought, well, he didn't show up during that time. I never saw him. But doesn't matter because that didn't fucking happen. Yeah, so things start progressively getting worse and worse and worse and worse, and more intense and more intense and more intense, and it eventually gets to the point where it's like a cartoon of crazy shit happening all at once. The walls are bleeding. I'm just kind of trying to skip ahead a little bit. The walls are bleeding.
And this is real life?
Yes, the walls are bleeding. I'm going to say the walls are bleeding like 2 more times before I keep going. And there's like there's this hurricane like wind that blows the doors open from the inside, cracks all the windows. There's a full on like thunderstorm that's like the worst that has ever been seen in Long Island. And they're trying to get the fuck out of there. They're like, we're done. We're getting the fuck out of here. They go to get in their car. Doesn't start. Of course. So then
left the lights on.
So then they go back in the house and more crazy shit happens. And eventually it winds down and they go to bed. They get up in the morning and then they get the fuck out of there. As if the ghosts were like, well, we just wanted you to stay one more night because you didn't tell us you were leaving or nothing. So maybe
we're not trying to get you to leave. We just want to fuck with you.
We just wanted to play one more time. So then they left. They got the fuck out of there and went and stayed at the mother-in-law's house. And while they were doing that, they had an investigative reporter come up to them because she wanted to do a story on it. Because like they're making police reports of all the crazy stuff that's happening through the whole thing. And then so she's like, all right, like I know some people. We can get this taken care of. And they're like, fuck yeah. That's where Ed and Lorraine Warren come into play. I'm not going to get too deep into their whole thing, but they're credible in the paranormal community. She's what's called a
medium?
Light trance medium, meaning that she can sense things, but she can't like see entities or anything.
And she can't like directly interact.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she can like go in a trance and like understand what's happening.
Think of it like a smoke detector.
Yeah. And so like she walks in. Oh, and Ed is a demonologist, which is we'll just call it an expert in demons.
Not to be confused with like an exorcist.
No.
Okay.
He just very knowledgeable
Yep.
on the topic. Now they
And
are
not just that though, but they do have the ability to if they're experienced enough to expel finger quotes.
He
the demon.
Okay.
can only do light exorcisms, but he's
Yes.
not supposed to do them at all.
No, because the church frowns upon anything but them
Yeah.
specifically
And
doing
they
them.
are sanctioned through the Catholic Church. Like they're very Catholic, that couple. And so like that's where like some of their power comes from, is because they have the ability to say the power of Christ fucking compels you, but not in the exorcist sense, but like, they know what they're doing.
And I'm sure they don't say the power of fucking Christ compels you.
Well, maybe they were. Maybe they're the power of fucking Christ. It takes a lot of energy, I imagine.
Do you guys know why Jesus Christ doesn't trust humanity?
Why?
Because he's afraid he might get double crossed.
I was gonna say because we grew up to like people are into furries and shit. Just like, ugh.
You're not into furries?
Jesus is looking down like they're shitting in litter boxes, man.
I forgave you and you did this shit.
Like, what happened? Anyway, so the Warrens come in. I'm just gonna tell you guys what they did for this situation. They came in and they were like, Ed was like, I'm going to go into the basement because that's where he believes demonic presence is most strong.
Because it's closest to hell.
Yes, it is. That's part of it. It's the darkest, coldest. That's their lair, right? It's like underground, you know? And that's where they live, underground. He goes down there and he finds the Red Room, which is just a secret room that was found that is painted all red. And he's like, this doesn't feel right. The dog.
So they found the room before the Warrens got
believe
there? Or did the Warrens find it?
The Warrens didn't find it.
Okay. I was just
They
making
had
sure.
found it before the Warrens got there. And then he went down there and he was like, whoa, this room's fucking weird. And like even the dog wouldn't go near it, which was weird.
That's a red flag right
Yeah,
there.
the dog wouldn't go fucking near it and was like acting real weird about it.
Dogs know.
Dogs know.
Yeah, especially
They always know.
It could take just a smell too, though.
Yeah. Oh, there was always throughout the whole time they were there, random fucking weird smells all the time. Putrid. I didn't mention the toilet thing. That was a thing that was actually legit. The toilet started like oozing this black sludge.
Oh,
there was also like ectoplasm-y like slime coming out of the floorboards. Like they would clean it up, but it would come back the next day.
That would be annoying as fuck. I'd want to move out if there were smells I could never trace, or if the floor messed itself up without even me doing anything.
Yeah. Now to be fair,
So-
there's like 4 kids or whatever running around, but
Did they ever come up with the reason why, like the floors?
no,
I hadn't heard that one.
nope,
yet.
that was just kind of skimmed over.
Okay, so this is basically just all of these people's account.
Yes.
Okay, I was just making sure that. Yeah.
So there's all sorts of like just crazy random shit. There's like so much that like the movie couldn't cover it, and the movie had to take some creative liberties in its own way.
Oh, yeah.
Because you know you gotta make it palatable.
Kind of like Winchester. Like you couldn't just make it blah and I'm building a house. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm making this room now.
Yeah. Let's make these stairs lead to nowhere. That'd get boring real goddamn fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Warrens come in. Also, Lorraine, she walks in and she's like, oh, there's something fucking evil in here. And she had eventually worked her way to that room, which is the sewing room. And she is known to have been quoted as saying, this is the closest to hell that I ever want to be. She's like, this place is bad. Ed comes up from the basement. He's like, this place is bad. And they're like, yeah, you have some shit going on here. I don't know. Like if it's ghosts, I don't know if it's demons, but one way or the other, there's not a lot we can do for you. So and they got the fuck out of there.
Nice.
After that, oh, and by the way, the Lutzes never went back in that house. After they left from day one, never went back in. So when that reporter came with the Warrens, they all went in. He stayed outside. Like Mr. Lutz, he was like, nope, no thanks. Not going back in there. So they left. They said, place is fucked up. Good luck. And got out of there. And then not much later, they had another paranormal guy. I can't remember his name. It's like Hans something.
Hans Gruber.
It's not Hans Gruber. That's what I thought in my brain when I first heard Hans, but this dude also went in, saw some weird shit. And he gave more accounts. He came up with the research that he did. He found out that the place was on an Indian burial ground. And it should not have been built there. And so he's like, that's where a lot of this is coming from. They mentioned it in the movie, but it was like a different character that came in and said all that stuff.
Yeah.
So they threw that in there in the movie. But yeah, it was this other investigative, paranormal, cyclical society member. There's like the New England Society of Cyclical Research. And
the New England Patriots.
The Warrens were a part of it. This guy was a part of it. Yeah. So then the Lutzes took off to California. They're like, we need to leave the fucking state.
And where did you say they went?
I want to say San Jose.
Which is, I believe, where the Winchester house
That was what, like, as soon as they said where it was, I was like, that's where the Winchester house is. So I wanted to make sure that I had that right. So if it was San Jose where the Winchester house is, that was right. Yeah.
The Winchester Horror.
Now, when they got to California, they were still feeling the residual effects of this. We're just going to call it a haunting, right? Because demonic or...
So I did have a little question, though. How did they pay to get out like to California and do all of that?
You know, it's a good question.
They broke?
That's a great question, Dave. And I forgot to mention the fact that they overspent on this house.
Yep.
They bought 2 boats. They had a car. He had a motorcycle. In the movie, they had a van, but I don't remember hearing about a van. But either way, they had the pool to take care of. They had this house to take care of, all the food, 4 fucking kids. They were in over their heads. Remember, their budget was $30,000 and they're paying $80,000 for this house.
Yeah.
And then decided to like try to live up to that style of living, maybe make appearances for the neighborhood that they're now in.
But in the movie, they definitely were showing they were broke.
They did mention that, which I was glad that they did.
Because he couldn't pay the people and
yeah,
all the checks were bouncing.
Yeah, that was one, because I went on a little rant while we were watching the movie about like how the fuck are they gonna explain that, but they did in a different way. There was no wedding, but because they were only there for 28 days.
That's a leap year February.
It is, sir. Yes, it is. So when they got to California, they got this is national news, this fucking house, right? Because it is blowing up. Word is spread across the country. And so now they're getting interviews in California. And so they're also needing to clear some shit up. Because now that it's getting such recognition, it's bringing out all of the like naysayers, and then the people who are on their side, and then people who are just making shit up and adding to the story. And so they're trying to like go on news, and they're trying to do these interviews and clear some stuff up when they decide, you know what, we're just going to get a book written for it. They made the book, then the movie got made, and then the fact checkers came into play. And that's the interesting part. Because most of this never fucking happened.
Sad.
Now, I believe...
I was hoping there was the gateway to hell right there.
I believe that they might have experienced something. But the first fucking lie, the priest.
Okay.
Never was there. Never showed up. Never. They talked to a priest on the phone for like a few minutes, but there was never a priest that went there to bless anything.
I suppose if they're atheists, they're not going to have a...
Exactly. Like what? So, all right. Right off the bat, priest never showed up there, never was there.
They talked to that priest.
And this movie was so much about the priest.
Yeah, it was kind of like The Exorcist. I got poltergeist vibes at one point.
Yeah, it was weird, but
Yeah.
this
Shining.
came out after The Exorcist, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Because this was 79, that was 73. It was good to know that it wasn't, it was before The Shining, because I was like, man, they just pulled from fucking everything.
Yeah. Yep. Or poltergeist.
Which Opie
was
would
the
be
80s
proud.
too.
I guessed the exact year for
The Exorcist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
Because I was like, when did The Exorcist come? It was right when the crucifix flipped upside down.
Yep.
I was like, when did The Exorcist come out? And Dave's like, oh, like 73, 74.
Two.
Yeah.
Nice, dude.
And so then he looked it up and he was like, 73.
Nice. Nice.
I was excited about that.
Hell yeah, dude.
Good job,
yeah.
Dave.
Very good.
So that was the first fucking lie. But what really started kicking things off for this truth finding mission was the book deal. Actually, the movie poster for when the movie came out said a true story. Not based on a true story. It said a true story.
A true story.
So that
Yeah.
made people go, really though? Is it really though?
Yeah.
And so people started digging into it and calling up things. And, you know, like there's like teams of people that just like are fact finders.
So that's what I'm learning as an adult with the internet now, that fact checkers, there's like whole people that just dedicate their lives to
Yeah.
blowing up what other people
Same
say.
thing. Don't kill cats.
Yeah. Don't fuck with cats.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Have you seen that
You know what
documentary?
that's about?
Uh-uh.
Ooh, you like it.
Yeah.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
It is a true
A dude
story.
put like videos of torturing like a cat on there, and some internet sleuths went ballistic trying to figure out who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out he was killing people too.
Yep.
For real?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he was putting
It's
it
like-
online.
Yikes.
It's like what all of Reddit is.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But yeah,
It's
so,
also a cesspool of madness.
so when the movie got made, originally, okay, I don't even know how to segue into this, but here's what really happened. The Lutzes moved into the house, realized that they were fucking broke. Incidentally, Ronald DeFeo's lawyer gets a hold of the Lutzes, like right away.
Mm-hmm.
They have dinner and they hatch a fucking plan to give the public what they want. It's like, I need you to tell people that this house is haunted as fuck so that I can use it as a defense for my client. Because the trial hasn't even happened yet.
And
When-
remember, Ronnie was saying that Satan gave him a gun.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yep. So he said, a demon gave me a gun and that's why I killed my family. And so the lawyer was like, hey, you guys just moved in. If you say that this house is super fucking haunted, there's going to be book deals. There's going to be movie deals. There's going to be merchandise. Like, this is going to be a cash fucking cow.
And I gotta say, I don't blame him.
No,
You're
because they're
broke.
way overextended.
Yep. When you're broke, man, I mean, hey.
And
if
somebody's
they-
saying
yep.
like you're broke, but you're sitting on a gold mine because you're living in a haunted, quote unquote, house.
Yep.
You're living in the DeFeo murder house where a demon had him do that, and now the demon's torturing you. Wink, wink. So, yeah, they came up with all this shit, and like the reason that came out is because when the Lutzes went to California, the original book deal was going to be the lawyer gets 45%, the DeFeos, and then whoever else was involved were going to split the rest, which would end up them being like 12%. And then all of them would kind of skim off a little bit to give to Ronald DeFeo, because this was before the Son of Sam law, which made it illegal for criminals to profit.
Okay.
So like he was going to get some of that. And like, but what happened was they got to California, met another lawyer who was like 50-50 split. You get 50, I get 50, call her good. And they were like, that's a way better deal. So they were smart enough to like cut ties with the other guy and then steal the idea. And then they made the book, and then the movie came out, and then that lawyer was like, oh, guess what? And then he started spilling the beans about how it was all fucking hoax.
Oh.
And then even fucking 1988, he was like, yup, still true, still fucking bullshit. Here's all my shit.
At the same time, was there documentation, a recording, anything that the lawyer could prove he actually talked to them about this?
I love that you are
I'm just curious.
looking for the proof of bullshit.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
like,
though, is,
like, yeah, that movie doesn't seem legit, but I mean, can you prove that it's
Come
not?
on.
no. I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about, like, if something really did happen to them, you know, just saying if it did.
Yeah.
Like I said, just kind of playing the devil's advocate here. Could that lawyer have been saying that stuff to
Just because he was pissed off because he got
discredit them?
I think that,
I mean, obviously, that the way you're saying it, that makes a hell of a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if there was any actual physical evidence on the lawyer's side to prove.
I think that he had some, and I think that because they had signed the book deal.
And he was probably on the book deal.
Yeah, and they were all on that book deal with all the other people.
That's
so
actual
there's
evidence then.
so
yeah.
there's
Okay.
physical, you know, paper trail shit right there, and like movie plans and like documents. Because he's a fucking lawyer. He's not gonna.
Yeah.
He's not just gonna
That's
spit
what I
on his
assumed.
hand.
I was
and-
just curious if there was, you know, because
That's
it's
a
always
question.
nice to have a piece, you know, like actual physical evidence saying, no, they're full of shit. It's
Which-
right here.
Right.
Which is a real bummer that it is bullshit because
is.
it was so much more fun the other way.
Exactly. That same thing with the
But
Winchester house.
that
you
doesn't
know?
mean that house doesn't have shit
Nope.
going on in it.
It doesn't. And that's the same thing I said with mine. I still believe something could possibly have happened. But we don't know. And we'll never really know. Because there's a lot of people that have been in both places that say, there is nothing here.
Yeah, like there's
Yep.
people that like all the owners of this Amityville house since 1976 or whatever it was have all said there's nothing wrong with this house. Like they've done renovations. Oh, another thing I didn't mention is when the Lutzes bought the house, they also got all of the furniture, which is just a bad omen.
Yeah, that's kind of a. I mean, if you don't, would you move into the house a year after the murder?
Depends on how well it was cleaned up and how good of a deal I got, I guess.
Yeah, and like,
you, Al?
you're like, hey, free fucking.
No, like if the carpets
All
are all
the
stained
beds.
with blood still and they never took it out and redid the floors or anything, no,
They
probably
kept
not.
all the beds.
Yes, you know, that absolutely not.
Oof.
All the furniture, everything in there would be going by.
Are you staying at the house? Are you buying a house, Donnie? Year after a murder?
No, because I think I'm more skeptical of that kind of stuff, but I still like the thought would be in the back of my head. So like I would just be affected by bad juju of my own making, I think. So I'd be like, I'll pass.
Oh, also, the Historical Society of New York determined without a shadow of a doubt that it is not on Indian burial grounds. That the closest reservation of the, I can't remember, it's a weird name. I can't remember exactly what it was, the band of natives, but they wouldn't even go near that property just because it felt evil.
Okay.
So like there is something to the negative energy that property has. So no, it wasn't on any kind of
Burial grounds.
but there was something off about that.
I wonder
area.
if this is where that cliche started. Of the ancient burial ground.
When did Pet Cemetery come out?
I'm pretty sure that was an 80s movie. Let me
Okay.
look it up here.
84.
Or,
I'm
Is
just
it
guessing
84
that.
or are you just saying
I
that?
have no idea. I'm just guessing.
Opie gave up looking. He turned away. He's like, 84 it is.
Yeah, sounds good.
He's got it.
looking at 83.
Ooh.
I was close.
But
No,
yeah,
89. Never mind. 89.
Oh well.
that's way off. Okay, anyway.
Still
so
close.
I ended up going into a big deep dive on the Warrens because they're a very interesting couple. But I don't want to get into it until we do like The Conjuring or Annabelle because that is their shit. Like that, they are way more involved in those than the other ones. So, Opie, what do you think of your rating? Do you want to keep it or do you want to change it, go up? Do you want to go down?
I'd probably keep it at the same. I was pretty easily going to get talked down, but I still can't put my finger on. I think this movie would be really good if it's a rainy night or something and you're just at home and you got nothing else you can do. You can pop this on. It's kind of slow, but the vibes might be better. Whereas I needed my attention on this movie and it wasn't grabbing my attention.
So,
I'm just staying.
Stan?
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing scores again?
Yep.
Donnie, you could have just let it pass.
I know.
You just went with the flow.
It's close. Who else is going to go?
Do you know how much just fucking talking I did just to get through it seamlessly?
You know what's funny? I know what I got mixed up with the walls shifting and stuff.
Okay.
Summerwind Manor. That's
Oh, really?
That's the one where
The one here?
Yes. Lamont Manor. Yep. I was gonna choose that one, but
That would have been a cool one because that's
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
yep. I was gonna choose that one after I already picked, mine because I was like, God, I should have done that one. 'cause
I don't know
forgot all
anything
it.
about that.
That's the one that
Is
the
there a movie?
architects were. It took them 2 years to renovate the house because supposedly the walls kept shifting and all the measurements kept being off.
Yeah.
That's the one that I got confused with.
Did we go there? Did I go
Yes.
there? Yeah.
What is that? Is that the house on the rock?
Nope, it's called Summerwind Manor or Lamont Mansion.
Yeah, I did go there. That was right.
We went there with Joe.
I didn't go with Joe. We went again later.
If people don't
I think we've
know,
only been there once.
I thought we went there. You, me, and Hova.
Hova was there.
Yeah,
I was there.
On our last
else was
Michigan
there?
trip, we took a little detour and went down into Wisconsin, and we went. I think Nick was there this time. Nick and Ashley.
Because after that, we stopped by the bar,
That Dillinger, right?
something like that. It's the one where Johnny Depp remade that movie
Yeah,
there because of the game
Yeah.
thing that happened.
yeah,
Yep. Yeah, I had a Guinness there. It was actually kind of cool.
yeah. Yeah, I know Nick was there because he had the Harley.
Yep. And Joe's friend came with too on that scooter thing.
That was a different trip though.
I could have swore that we were on our way back.
Those are two separate trips.
Okay. Man, I could have swore we came
The
back.
trip
from
where we went to
Summerwind.
that was the well,
that's-
unless you went to that again, that bar
We went-
again.
Nope. No. I could be confusing two different trips.
I think you're combining them. But anyway, Summerwind.
Yes, that was the one I was confusing with the Amityville house and the measurements and stuff.
Yeah. What do you want to? Do you want to change your rating?
Oh. I think I'm gonna stay where I'm at. I mean, I did enjoy some of the effects, but that was just the little bits.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't. It kept my attention. It was above average, just barely, but just 5's average.
Yeah.
Just a movie to watch. It wasn't terrible. It just kind of.
but you think you'd like Ryan Reynolds better.
I did like that one better.
Yeah,
A little more action.
I like that too. I've seen people criticize that movie, and I'm like, I liked it.
I never saw
did
that
too.
one.
I mean, this wasn't bad. It's just I enjoyed that one a little more.
I liked that one because they played more into that, like, he's a stepfather, and so he was isolated in that way, and like,
And he
this
got a
one
lot more crazy.
they didn't do it quite as much in this one.
Yeah.
And I thought it was better in this.
They didn't mention it in this one, but like allegedly, a part of the original story is that, like, with that animosity building up and like everyone was turning against each other, and like he started like being a dick to the kids, but they didn't really show that in this. I think he yelled at them one time, like
He yelled at the dog.
he
That's
yelled
the
at
only
the dog.
time I actually heard him yelling
yeah.
at the dog.
They yelled at the dog, and Dave's like, "Don't yell at the poor puppy."
I like that dog.
Donnie, what do you think? What do you go up or down?
I mean, I'm gonna go down. I think I do kind of agree with the 5 setting here, but I'm still gonna bump it to a 6 because the guy's the fucking axe man, dude.
You like that, huh?
He was impressed by that throw.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, plenty of for a movie that's so kind of just mild for action. It was a really action coded scene.
Yeah.
So Donnie, you're gonna have to explain that. I'm gonna
The
let you
axe
explain
man.
it. Even though that was-
Dave, that makes him an axe man.
Yeah, even though that
I mean-
was, I know what his reference is, and it involves me. And it's kind of funny.
I was trying to just keep it at the base level of like,
But we
he's
should
a
explain
this
just
man
at this
with an
point-
axe, but
It's just so people listening have an idea of what it is, and Opie doesn't know either.
I don't.
have you ever? There's a song that's floating around. I don't know when the song came out. It's a very popular meme song
Is it
called
really?
"The Scat Man."
That's in
Oh, yeah.
That's in a bunch of memes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that song because it's a good song.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's a lot of songs that are just like,
You know that song?
Yeah.
Yep.
Sing it,
yeah,
Opie. Sing it,
man.
Opie.
I
You know?
can't sing that.
It's scatting. You squeeb.
There you go.
Yeah.
like the song's just fucking awesome, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And we've referenced it so many times, just doing everything we do, and we we were playing this zombie video game, right? Just a bunch of us, multiplayer, whatever.
It's an extraction type game. Like you go and you do some stuff, kill some zombies, and then you have to get on a boat
Yeah.
after you've achieved what you're supposed to do, and then the boat takes away.
Okay.
But we've to frame that, we've only once
And that's the
ever
only
successfully extracted, but prior to that, like, we were just playing, enjoying that one round. Dave picked up an axe in the game, and he just immediately was like, all right, I'm only using this is the only weapon I'm using, like, wouldn't switch it for the world. And because at that, like, we kept playing Scatman at that time, where he's like, I'm the Scat Man, Dave just started going, I'm the Axe Man, and it was just cracking us the fuck up. So we referenced this constantly, and the worst part, like, that round was the best we ever did. We got to the end, we were on the boat, and the cutscene started. We were fucking thrilled. And during the cutscene, you could move your character around as the boat's leaving the harbor. I was like, oh, you
Yep.
did it. You beat the zombies. You're escaping.
Yep.
You hear Dave, I'm the Axe Man. And you see him run off the boat into the water and die. And we're just like, oh my God. And Joe was so pissed off about it.
Did it make you lose?
Yes.
Oh,
Well,
really?
he made them succeed,
It-
but
yeah, it was like
wasn't
a
a
half
full
succeed.
clear.
Like, not
Oh,
everyone
okay.
survived.
yeah.
But it was so fucking funny. So we just there's a whole thing about being an axe man and everything about axes when we're just playing video games.
The worst
So
part
that is a good build up to this fucking axe thing that I think is
It-
funny.
the worst part is that the fact that you guys successfully did it just
that made it even better.
no, it made it just encourages you to do more stupid shit.
A lot of it is just because of the fact that when we got at that end and we're finishing, you know how Joe gets. He's like, we're doing we have to do this now, and like he starts to try to take charge, like, because
Yeah.
we're literally on our way out to finish this.
Yeah.
And I had a little bit of a case of the fuck-arounds. So as soon as it starts pulling away, I had to say that and just dive off the boat. And he got so angry that he
It was
literally
just-
quit the game and left Discord and was done for the night.
Oh,
Listening to Dave
wow.
just going like, "This is what I'm doing. I refuse to switch," and we're just like, "All right, man."
Hey, it fucking worked.
Yeah.
It was great.
But yeah, so anytime there's axes involved, my scores are going up.
Hell yeah.
And so you're at a 6.
Plus, I just laugh. I watched that scene this morning, and I just had a good laugh about it. Just the way they were looking at each other. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is fucking ridiculous.
It was fake.
And yeah,
So yeah, 6.
all right. So I think I'm staying with 5 just because like I ruined myself with this movie. And I didn't think that it was a terrible movie. I've definitely seen
No.
better.
No, but 5 is
but yeah,
average.
I've
Normal
definitely
movie.
seen
Yeah.
worse.
Yep. Because a 5's not a bad score. It's just, it didn't stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next week's going to be much better.
I'm excited.
I'm excited because I've never seen the Mothman Prophecies.
I haven't either. I just really want to talk about cryptids with you guys. That's really
Yeah.
it. It's just a gateway for me to talk about something fun.
And it'll be interesting to not talk about a haunted house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get away
What
from
was-
the
wait,
ghost
what was
stuff.
Opie's?
And talk
What-
about little
His
creatures.
was a killer.
Yeah. Mine
that's
was
right.
a killer. Dave's was kind of, he was ghost. But the Mothman is kind of, he's not like a bad.
Well, it
A bad
depends
guy.
on
Have
the
you
take on it.
have you
Because there's some where he appears where tragedy happens.
He's more of an omen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, like, bridge collapses and things, people swear he's there. So, there's some that attribute it to, hey, if you see him, something bad's going to happen. It could be a warning, or some people say that it's
He causes it.
causes that by being there. Yeah. So, I'm excited for it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
Actually, I know quite a bit about that one, too.
I don't know shit.
Only because I listened to a podcast.
Those conspiracy guys?
No.
What is it?
Monster Fuzz.
Never heard of that one, but
I love them guys.
all right.
Rob and Eamon, they're from Ireland.
If
Okay.
you love him so much, why don't you
They're
marry
funny.
him?
Wait, isn't those-
It's a comedy podcast, and if anyone likes to laugh about goofy stuff, I recommend them. It's great.
Cool.
I really like them.
Monster Fuzz.
Monster Fuzz. Yep.
All right.
Cool. Well, I suppose let's shut this shit
Oh.
down, huh?
All righty.
Later.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.
Toodles.
Bye. Beep, bop, boop, ba, bop. Beep, bop, boop, ba, bop.